I have here a directory of people who worked for the Quartermaster Department. These are civilians who worked for the Quartermaster Department in Fort Scott during the Civil War. This directory has about 12 pages of names. 368 people altogether. And I'm not sure what time, this is just representative of one moment of time. And one moment of time, I'm not sure what year this is from, there were 368 people working for the Quartermaster Department. Here are some of the jobs. Bookkeeper. Why would a bookkeeper work for a Quartermaster Department?
Keep the supplies in order.
Keep the supplies in order. Keep track of the supplies. Keep track of the money coming in. Keep track of where the supplies are going. This was a government operation. You had to account for all your supplies. What about a forage master? What would a forage master do? Anybody ever heard of that term, forage? Yes. Okay. Foraging means going out and finding food. In this case, you're maybe not, well, you might be contracting for food, for feed. The forage would mean to manage the feedlots for the Army. Herd master, what would the herd master do?
Keep the herd set in line.
Yeah, take care of all the herds of horses, herds of mules. Very important job, teamster. Anybody heard that term before? What does a teamster do? Yeah?
It's like where they manage horses.
Do they man horses?
Like wherever they put them on wagons or something.
Okay, it's kind of like, that's part of it, hooking up the teams to a wagon.
It's where you have two horses and you have them basically hooked together with your reins.
That's a team. That's a team. So what does the teamster do?
It pulls the wagon in.
The teamster is the person who
Does that. Puts it on.
drives the horses. He's like the truck driver. So there's a lot of teamsters. On this first page alone, there's 8 people who are listed just as teamsters. And I looked through this 12-page directory. I would say that 1/2 to 2/3 of these people are teamsters. So the Fort Scott Quartermaster Department employs about 200 teamsters. That's a lot of wagons going out into the field. And all these other jobs as well means what in terms of the economic environment of Fort Scott? Okay, if you're giving all these people jobs, what do they have?
Money.
They have money to spend. Now where are they going to spend that money? Stores, merchants. So, what is that going to do to the economy of Fort Scott?
Make it stronger.
Make it stronger. It's going to prosper because people have jobs, they're spending money. And the presence of the Army in Fort Scott helps to, for lack of a better word, stimulate the economy. And Fort Scott prospers during the Civil War because of all the spending that's going on here. Now, what are the basic things that are getting to the soldiers out of the field?
Food.
What's the most important thing? Food. Okay. What kind of food?
Good food.
What's some of the things you think would have been issued as part of their ration? Meat.
Wheat.
Wheat.
Meat. Fruit.
Okay. Here is the standard ration for each. Okay, standard ration for the soldiers. Pork, salted pork, or salted beef, one of the two. Flour, which was made into bread, loaves of bread, or hard bread. Anybody know what hard bread is?
Bread that's hard.
Cracker?
It's like a hardtack cracker. Hardtack cracker is made from flour, water, and baking powder. Some recipes I've seen also call for salt. You know it's going to be really tasty?
Yeah.
It's also baked for 10 to 12 hours. Guaranteed to take all the moisture right out of the cracker. Not very flavorful, but it is filling. And that's the idea behind Army food. As long as you're full, you're healthy. Then the other things on the rations were beans. Let me back up a minute. Hard bread was the main thing they had. Was one of their staples when they were out on campaign. When they were in camp, or when they were in quarters, they would often have bread baked instead of eating the hardtack. When they were out on campaign, it was hard bread. And then beans or peas, coffee, sugar, vinegar, and salt. Those were the staples of the Army ration. When a person drew rations, okay, storehouses like these weren't like grocery stores where people just came and bought things. It was actually more like a distribution center. A sergeant, for example, of each company would come to the storehouse and draw rations to be divided by his company of 100 men. So, for example, the beef ration, when he drew the beef ration, he would draw 125 pounds of beef. Okay, how many? That's to be divided by 100 men. So let me test your math skills. How many pounds of beef per man if you have 125 pounds of beef?
1.5 and a fourth.
1 1/4. Very good. Okay. Or you could choose from 75 pounds of pork for 100 men. So how many pounds per man if you have 75 pounds? No, not a half pound. 3/4. There you go. It's really easy to do that actually if you're dividing a number by 100. You just, you think of it as like 75.00. Just move the decimal point to the left 2 numbers, and you come with 0.75, which is 3/4. So let me give you one more. 112 pounds of flour divided by 100. How many pounds per man?
1 and an 8. 1 and 6.
1
and 12.
1.12. That's all it was. 1.12. So 1 and 12 and 100. Okay, and you can take that down further if you want. So that's how much each person is getting per day. Sound like pretty yummy rations?
Yeah, yum.
Yes.
Not very tasty, but well maintained. If it doesn't go moldy or anything, it does keep you alive. So as long as you have those rations going out into the field, and all your wagons are working properly, the Army is going to at least stay fed. It's actually not a really bad diet for the soldiers. They're not going to get overweight on all that stuff. And they're doing a lot of marching, so physically they're going to be in good shape as long as the food they're eating is good. But because of sanitary conditions, because of lack of knowledge of disease treatment, soldiers weren't really all that healthy. Okay, so you've got the food rations. You've got supply warehouses to store them. You've got your wagons. You've got your road system going. Okay, and you've got your draft animals, and they're well fed. Okay, now you're taking that out to the soldiers who are fighting in the field up to 100 miles away. Say soldiers, Fort Scott is supplying soldiers over near Sarcoxy, which was not unheard of. Okay, how many How long did you drive to get from Sarcoxy to here?
An hour and a half.
Okay. How did you get here?
Bus.
Bus. What did the bus ride on?
Highways.
Highway. Okay. What's something that might have happened to the bus along the way that would prevent you from getting here? It might break down. It might crash.
No axle.
Okay.
Flat tire.
Okay. Bridge collapses. Okay.
Flat tire.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe terrorists would attack the bus to stop it from getting here? That was something you thought about when you got in your bus this morning, right? The terrorists might attack your bus. Well, if you've got soldiers, the soldiers are out in the field fighting, who are they fighting against? Well, they're not fighting against terrorists.
Enemies.
They're fighting against other people who are on the opposing side. So the opposing side, in order to cripple the ability of those soldiers to fight, they might attack the school bus, they might attack the wagon train that's bringing the supplies to those soldiers. Attack the wagon train, these guys here are going to start starving, and they're not going to be able to fight as well if they're not properly supplied. So what is here's Fort Scott up here, here's the army they're trying to supply, here's the wagon train in the middle, and here's soldiers from the other side coming in to try and attack the wagon train. What can Fort Scott do to protect this wagon train and help get to the soldiers in the field?
Put people on the wagon.
Send out soldiers with armed guards with the wagon train in order to prevent that from happening. So part of your soldiers are going to be assigned wagon train duty. So can you see all of the important functions, all the jobs, all the things that are necessary to do in order to successfully supply soldiers out in the field? You've got to gather all the supplies together, build warehouses to hold all the supplies, make sure those warehouses are leak-proof. Water gets in, ruins your supplies. That's going to be bad for your troops. So the maintenance of the buildings is important. Make sure that your animals are well fed. Make sure the wagons are well maintained. And make sure that the roads are protected, the supply routes are protected, that gets your supplies from the Fort Scott to the people out in the field. Quite a bit of job, quite a bit of effort went into this. And it became a very critical role. Fort Scott then played a very critical role in the survival and success of the Union Army in this area during the Civil War. Anybody have any questions? No questions? Okay. I thank you all for coming out today.